Come here, my dear, and settle down beside me for a spell. I've got a story to share, a tale woven from the threads of time and the quiet lessons of life. But before we go on, maybe hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. All right, my dear, as I sit here, rocking gently in my old chair, I can't help but think about all those hidden scars from days gone by. Scars that aren't seen by the eye, but are etched deep within our hearts. They're like memories of old wounds, silently shaping who we are, even as they build something soft and enduring inside us. Now you might ask, Grandpa, why do these scars linger? Well, kid, it's because life isn't just about the bright and the easy moments. It's full of twists and turns, gentle rains and harsh storms. And in the quiet aftermath of those storms, we learn to feel things we never thought we could. Pain, hope, a kind of strength that comes from having survived what once seemed unbearable. These scars, my dear, they're not marks of weakness. No. They're the gentle signs of a life lived deeply, with every joy and every sorrow carefully collected like precious pebbles along a winding path. I remember when I was your age, sitting under a vast sky that felt both infinite and lonely. I wondered, why is this so hard? Why do I feel so small in such a big, mysterious world? And then slowly, those questions turned into whispers that urged me to look within, to face those hidden hurts. It wasn't easy, mind you. It took time and a whole lot of patience. The pain was like a silent friend who stayed close long after the storm had passed, reminding me that every tear and every ache carried with it a secret strength. That strength was the seed of something greater, the wisdom that only time can grow. You see, my dear, every challenge we face leaves a mark, an invisible, persistent echo of our past. It's like when you plant a tree. The roots dig deep into the earth, hidden from sight, gathering all the nourishment they can find. And as the seasons change, those roots help the tree to stand tall against every wind and rain. Our hidden scars are much like those roots. They anchor us, making us capable of weathering life's endless changes. And though they may hurt to the touch, they remind us that we are alive, that we have endured, and that we continue to grow. Some folks might say that it would be better to let go of the pain, to try and wipe away those scars as soon as they appear. But, my dear, those scars tell our story. Each one is a chapter, a secret chapter in the book of our lives. They remind us that every setback was a stepping stone towards becoming who we are today. And this reminds me of a little philosophy I once read about. The Stoics. They believed that what we suffer from is not the hardships themselves, but our judgment about them. In their quiet way, they taught that even our deepest wounds have the power to teach us strength and resilience, if only we have the heart to listen. Now, you might be wondering if there was ever a time I wished those scars had never come. I'll be honest with you, kid. There were moments when I longed for a simpler heart, a life free from the echoes of loss and regret. But as I've grown older, I've come to realize that those very scars carved a map that shows every place I've been and every lesson I've learned. It's easy to look at someone and see only the surface, the smile, the laughter, the calm. But beneath that calm lies the tumult of 1,000 days, the quiet storm of battles fought and won within the chambers of the heart. I remember a night when the sky was a deep velvet, sprinkled with countless stars. I sat there, feeling the cool whisper of the wind, and I asked myself, what is the true value of my pain? In that hushed moment, it occurred to me that every moment of hurt was also a moment of becoming. The pain had shown me parts of myself I never knew existed: resilience, empathy, the capacity to love beyond measure. And in understanding that, I began to cherish those scars as gifts, bittersweet tokens of a life fully experienced. Now, my dear, you might ask, Grandpa, do you think these scars ever truly fade away? The truth is, they may fade in time, like the lingering notes of an old song, but they never vanish completely. Instead, they evolve. They become a gentle reminder of the past, a quiet piece of who we are. And every time we remember them, we honor the journey that brought us here. Some scars even light up when touched by the warmth of our memories, transforming the pain into a kind of beauty, a beauty that only those who have truly lived can understand. As we sit together in this quiet moment, I want you to know that it's all right to feel the weight of those memories. It's perfectly natural to wonder why life chose such a winding road. And while it might seem unfair at times, remember that every hardship has its purpose. Much like the ancient wisdom of Buddhist teachings, which remind us that suffering is an integral part of the human experience, our struggles are but stepping stones on the path to enlightenment. The journey is never without bumps, but each one teaches us to walk a little steadier, to laugh a little louder when the sun comes out again. Imagine, kid, those nights when the dark seemed endless, when the quiet seemed too loud. Those were the times my soul was gathering the strength to rise again. And in those moments of solitude, I discovered that the scars we bear are not badges of sorrow, but inscriptions of survival. They chart the course of our inner voyage. Every ache was a story of endurance, every memory a lesson in fortitude. Sometimes, when the wind rustles through the leaves of the old oak tree outside my window, I remember how I used to run barefoot in the grass, carefree and unaware of the hidden thorns along the way. Back then, I didn't know that those thorns would leave a mark, that each tiny scratch would eventually forge a resilience that grew with every passing year. You see, the journey of life is paved with both soft petals and rough edges. And though we might try to avoid the prickly parts, they are what give us depth and texture. Let me tell you, my dear, there were times when I lay awake at night wondering, why must it be this hard? In those quiet hours, when the world was still and the only sound was my own heartbeat, I found solace in the simple truth that every challenge was a hidden blessing in disguise. Each struggle was an invitation to discover something new about myself, a deeper kindness, a broader understanding of compassion. It's as if the universe, in its mysterious way, was nudging me to grow from the inside out. And so, as we journey through these memories together, I want you to know that it's not about erasing the past, but about embracing it. Your scars, no matter how faint or fierce, are proof that you've lived. They speak of nights filled with trials and days bathed in the golden light of redemption. They are the silent marks of battles fought in the deep, quiet corners of your being, and they carry the story of your survival. There's a comforting thought in knowing that we are not alone in our struggles. Across the vast tapestry of human experience, every soul carries its own hidden scars. And though our scars differ in shape and story, they all remind us of one essential truth. It is the imperfection, the trials, and even the heartache that mold us into who we are. Think of it like a beautifully aged piece of wood, each mark and crack telling a story of years of weathering storms and basking in the sun. Some nights, as I sit here and reflect, I feel a quiet kinship with those ancient trees that have stood through countless seasons. Their scars, too, are hidden beneath layers of bark, and yet each ring, each mark speaks of survival. It tells the tale of a tree that has known both the rage of winter winds and the tender warmth of summer breezes. Just like those trees, we too are living monuments of our time, testaments to the resilience that comes from bearing life's invisible marks. I often recall a conversation I once had with an old friend, a philosopher, who spoke softly of the wounds of the past as not just sources of pain, but of growth. He said that every hurt we carry is like a seed planted in our soul, one that blossoms into empathy and understanding. It is a truth that has resonated with me time and again as I look back on the years that have molded me. And now, my dear, as I pass these words to you, I hope you see that the journey of healing is not a race. It's a slow, tender unfolding, a blooming of the heart that fills the void with love and understanding. In your quieter moments, when you feel the pang of loss or the sting of regret, remember this, kid. You are never alone in your struggle. Every one of us, in our own silent way, bears the beautiful marks of yesterday. And it is through these marks that we learn the true meaning of resilience. The hidden scars of yesterday are not just reminders of pain. They are also the quiet, enduring symbols of our strength and capacity to love despite it all. So, as you listen to these words, let them be a gentle reminder that every scar you bear, every memory that aches in the quiet, is part of a greater tapestry. A tapestry woven with moments of joy and pain, triumphs and setbacks. And within that tapestry, you will find the undeniable truth that each scar is a brushstroke on the canvas of your soul, a mark of your journey towards wisdom, compassion, and the unyielding strength that lies within. You know, my dear, as I continue to wander down memory lane in these quiet moments, I'm reminded of how every chapter of our life, every twist and turn, leaves us with something to hold close. I recall long afternoons spent sitting by the window, watching the rain trace little paths down the glass. In that gentle patter, I heard the echoes of old pains and the secret songs of time. Those rainy days taught me that sometimes the tears we shed aren't just signs of sorrow. They're the gentle streams that carve canyons of understanding in our hearts. It wasn't just the weather that left its mark, but the people, too. I often think about the friends and family who have danced briefly across the stage of my life. Their laughter, their hugs, even their quiet departures, each encounter left a hidden scar, a soft imprint reminding me that nothing is ever truly lost. And if you listen carefully, kid, you'll hear those marks murmur in the silence, whispering stories of connection and the quiet resilience that blossoms even in loneliness. There were days, my dear, when the weight of those memories seemed too heavy to carry. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering where the strength came from to rise each morning. And then I'd remember a passage from another old philosophy, the teachings of Confucius, that spoke of how the trials we face are merely the path to self-improvement. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop, he said. In those words, I found a lifeline, a reminder that every single step, however small, was progress. In time, I learned that even the deepest scars can become bridges to the parts of us we never knew existed. As I grew older, I came to see that these hidden marks of yesterday are not meant to break us. They are, instead, gentle reminders of our ability to endure, to love, and to rebuild. Life, with all its intricate twists, has taught me that every setback is often the quiet prelude to a new beginning. Think about a time, my dear, when you stumbled upon a hidden garden, a place overgrown with wildflowers and tangled vines. At first it might seem unkempt, even a little messy. But if you look closer, you'll find that every wildflower, every drooping vine is thriving in its own right, a living testament to the beauty that can arise from disarray. In the delicate balance between pain and joy, we find our true selves. I remember once sitting by an old, weathered barn, its walls etched with the faded memories of 100 summer evenings. I ran my fingers along the rough wood and felt not just a cold, hard surface, but the warmth of countless stories and silent struggles. Those walls, much like our own hearts, bore hidden scars of storms weathered and seasons past. They told me that growth doesn't happen in spite of our scars. It happens because of them. And then there are those moments of soft clarity when the world around you seems to slow down. Perhaps it's early in the morning when the first light of day crests the horizon, or late at night when the stars twinkle in quiet testament to the vastness of all we've experienced. In those moments, my dear, I feel the pull of the past, a gentle tug that reminds me of the countless lessons etched into my soul. I sometimes wonder if these hidden scars are our soul's way of keeping score, a secret tally of every triumph and trial we've ever faced. They may not sparkle like medals on a shelf, but they shine in a softer, more enduring light. I also recall discussions with wise old souls who taught me that suffering is not a curse, but a gift, a paradox wrapped in mystery. For example, the ancient Stoics believed that every difficulty we encounter is an opportunity to cultivate inner strength. They'd say, adversity introduces a man to himself. And as I've trudged along the rocky path of life, I can't help but agree. Each trial, each moment of despair was really a quiet invitation to learn more about who I was meant to become. And in that learning, I discovered the warmth of true resilience, the kind that doesn't fade with time. There's also something to be said about memory, kid. Memory, with its bittersweet flavor, is like an old friend who drops by unannounced. Sometimes it brings a sense of comfort, a reminder of days filled with laughter and love. Other times, it brings the sting of loss, the soft pain of knowing that nothing stays the same. Yet, even in that pain, there's beauty, because every memory is a thread in the rich tapestry of our lives, a tapestry woven with both vibrant colors and muted shades. I remember one day, as I was walking along a familiar path lined with tall trees and soft moss underfoot, I felt a calm resolve wash over me. It was as though the rustling leaves were murmuring old secrets, secrets that told me that every bruise, every tender scar was a piece of the puzzle that made up my very essence. I thought to myself, Isn't it remarkable, kid? How even our hardest days can be transformed into quiet strength? In that moment, I realized that the hidden scars of yesterday are not just burdens to bear, but markers of a journey where every misstep is as significant as every graceful stride. And now, as I share this with you, my dear, I want you to understand that life isn't meant to be a flawless story. It's a patchwork of moments, both beautiful and painful. It's the unexpected reunions, the silent goodbyes, the laughter that follows tears. It's every quiet moment spent in introspection, every time you felt the weight of the world and yet managed to smile. All these experiences leave marks on you, not to remind you of your fragility, but to remind you of your capacity to overcome. They're hidden scars that gently whisper, "You've been through a lot, but look how far you've come." Take a moment, my dear, to think about the resilience of nature. Imagine a wildflower pushing through a crack in a stone sidewalk. No matter how hard the concrete, that little flower found a way to bloom. That's how our hearts work too. They may be scarred, they may be weathered by time and hardship, yet there's still a small, persistent spark that refuses to fade. Each hidden mark is like a memory of that flower's determination, a quiet reminder that life always finds a way to bloom, even in the harshest conditions. As the day turns to dusk and the night wraps its cool arms around us, remember that each star in the sky is a symbol of past battles and quiet victories. The hidden scars of yesterday are our silent companions. They walk with us under the same stars and remind us of the beauty in our struggles. Every challenge was there to teach us. Every hurt was there to strengthen us. And while the journey of healing may be long and winding, it leads us to a place where our hearts are richer, our souls kinder. So rest easy tonight, kid. Let the memories come and go, each one a gentle echo of a life fully lived. And when you wake, may you carry with you the strength of every hidden scar, a strength as enduring as the ancient mountains, as timeless as the stars overhead. For in the quiet reflection of those scars, you'll find the soft light of wisdom, the tender glow of hope, and the promise that every scar, no matter how hidden, is a whisper from yesterday that helps shape the radiance of tomorrow. You know, my dear, as I wander further into these winding memories, I find that every hidden scar and every gentle hurt carries a deeper meaning, a meaning that philosophers and wise souls through the ages have tried to unravel. It's as if our lives are written in the language of existence, a language that speaks in soft whispers through the ages. There's a quiet echo of the ancient Stoics in my heart, Epictetus and Seneca, whose words remind me that the hardships we face aren't curses, but the very fire that forges our inner strength. They taught that it's not what happens to us, but how we choose to react that matters. And if you think about it, kid, isn't it remarkable that every difficult moment is a chance to choose courage over despair? Sometimes I ponder the wisdom of the Buddha, who saw suffering as an inevitable part of life. In his gentle teachings, he showed that every ache and every sorrow is an opportunity to cultivate a mind of compassion and equanimity. When I was younger, I used to wonder, why must life be filled with such pain? And in those quiet hours of reflection, I found solace in the idea that pain is transient, like clouds passing over the endless sky. It teaches us impermanence, reminding us that just as night gives way to day, every difficult moment will eventually dissolve into a softer light. This impermanence is a gift, a constant reminder that change is the only true constant in our lives. And then there's the wisdom of Taoism, my dear, where the natural flow of life is celebrated, scars and all. The Tao teaches us to move with the rhythm of the universe, like water that flows around obstacles rather than trying to force its way through. It's a lesson in acceptance, an invitation to see life as a river, sometimes calm and sometimes raging, always carrying us forward. When I look at my own scars, I start to see them as part of that natural ebb and flow. They are not a burden, but a record of where I've been, just as the river's twists and turns mark its long journey to the sea. I recall many evenings when I sat by the fire, lost in thoughts of these old philosophies. I'd wonder how a single moment of despair could bloom into a lesson of resilience. There's a beautiful paradox in that. The very hurt we try to escape can also become the wellspring of our wisdom. The ancient existentialists, too, had a lot to say about the paradoxes of life. Figures like Kierkegaard and Nietzsche looked into the heart of suffering and discovered that it is precisely through our deepest wounds that we learn to create meaning for ourselves. They urged us to confront life's absurdities head on, to find purpose even when faced with the darkest of nights. And isn't that something worth holding on to? The idea that within the seeming chaos of our existence, there is a hidden order, a secret design that even our scars are a part of. Sometimes, when the night is particularly quiet, I catch myself reflecting on the way those hidden scars have shaped not just my life, but my perspective on love and beauty. You see, my dear, beauty isn't found in perfection. It's found in the delicate interplay between joy and sorrow, in every crack and crevice that tells a story of survival. Think of a piece of weathered pottery. Its chipped edges and faded colors whisper tales of a life well lived. In the same way, our scars remind us that we are not merely survivors of our past. They are living testaments to the journey we've undertaken, with every hardship a stroke in the grand painting of our lives. There's a philosophy called amor fati, a Latin phrase meaning love of fate. It's the idea of embracing everything that happens to you, even the painful parts, as necessary and good. I often find that this perspective helps soften the sting of regret. Instead of wishing away my scars, I've learned to see them as necessary threads woven into the fabric of my destiny. They're there not to remind me of what I've lost, but to celebrate the strength that grew in spite of it. Isn't it a comforting thought that every moment of difficulty carries a promise of growth, even if it's wrapped in a bit of sorrow? And what about the ideas of resilience and transformation echoed in the philosophy of Nietzsche? He once said that what does not kill us makes us stronger. And I've seen that truth time and time again in my own life. Each hidden mark I bear is a symbol of a battle fought and won, a silent victory over the trials that threaten to overwhelm me. Nietzsche's call to embrace life's challenges, to dance with the chaos rather than shrink from it, has always resonated deeply with me. I see it in the way a tree bends in the wind but does not break, its scars hidden beneath bark that has grown richer with each passing storm. In the quiet spaces of my mind, I sometimes find myself conversing with these old philosophical voices, The Stoics, the Buddhists, the Taoists, even the existentialists. Their voices mix like the gentle clink of old coins in a worn leather pouch, each sound a reminder that every tear, every scar is a lesson in fortitude. I ask myself, what have these trials taught me, and how can they help me become a better version of myself? And in those reflective moments, I discover that the answers are not always clear or immediate. They come slowly, as a soft murmur in the back of my heart, guiding me gently along the path of understanding. You know, kid, there's also a lesson to be learned in the concept of duality, the coexistence of light and darkness, joy and pain. Think of the yin and yang, the ancient Chinese symbol of balanced opposites. Our lives are a canvas painted with both bright and muted hues. The shadows that fall across our days are as important as the light that follows. They create depth. They give shape to our experiences. And when you grow older, you start to understand that the hidden scars of yesterday are simply part of the larger picture, a mosaic of moments that together form the whole of who you are. In those moments when you feel lost, remember that the very act of bearing those scars is a sign of life lived fully. Each scar is a memoir of a moment when you felt deeply, when you dared to face life in all its uncertainty. They teach us that the most profound lessons often come from the most unyielding pain. There's a profound thought in the works of the ancient philosopher Heraclitus, who believed that change is the only constant. Our scars, then, are like reminders of that constant change, a narrative of transformation that continues to evolve with every heartbeat. And now, as you listen to these words, I want you to take a deep breath and let all these thoughts sink in. Reflect on the idea that pain, wisdom, and beauty are intertwined. The ancient philosophies remind us that every experience, no matter how painful, is a stepping stone toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Each hidden scar is a quiet testament to your endurance, a soft echo of battles fought and lessons learned. They are the markers that remind you of the infinite capacity of the human spirit to heal and to love. Imagine, if you will, the long, winding road that stretches out before you, marked by all the footprints of those who have walked it before. Each footprint is a memory, a scar of the past that has contributed to the making of a resilient soul. It's as though the road itself is imbued with the wisdom of ages, whispering, "Be patient, my dear, embrace every step, for even the hardest steps are worth the journey." And in that embrace, you find not only solace, but also the quiet strength to move forward. Sometimes, as dusk settles and the stars begin to tell their ancient stories, I find that my mind drifts to the teachings of Sufi mystics, who speak of love as a transformative power. They believe that every encounter, every hurt, is a sacred moment that prepares us for deeper love and understanding. There's a beautiful metaphor in that idea, that our scars are not merely wounds, but sacred maps guiding us to the center of our own hearts. To love fully, we must first learn to accept every part of ourselves, even the bruised and broken pieces. And over time, those pieces, once tender and raw, are polished by the gentle sands of time into a mosaic of strength and beauty. My dear, as you continue your own journey along this winding road, remember that you are never truly defined by your scars. They are, after all, just one part of your story. A story still unfolding with every breath you take. The philosophies that have been passed down through the generations all share a common truth, that the hidden marks of our past, painful as they may be, are integral to the formation of a wise and compassionate soul. They remind us that in every moment of struggle, there is also the spark of hope, a spark that, when nurtured, grows into the gentle flame of resilience. So, as you sit with me in this quiet hour, let us honor the wisdom of those ancient voices. Let us remember that life's challenges are not stumbling blocks, but stepping stones on the path to self-discovery. The Stoics, the Buddhists, the Taoists, and even the existentialists all have shown that within the heart of adversity lies the potential for transformation. And through that transformation, every hidden scar becomes a part of your rich tapestry, a testament to your journey toward becoming whole. Now, my dear, in the soft glow of the night and under the watchful eyes of the stars, let your heart be open to the lessons of yesterday. Embrace the whispers of the past and let them guide you gently toward a future filled with promise. For it is through these delicate wounds that we learn, grow, and ultimately find that even the most hidden scars can shine with the gentle light of wisdom and love. You know, my dear, as we wander deeper into these thoughts, there's something truly remarkable about every hidden scar we carry. Each scar is like a quiet signpost along the winding road of life, a reminder that something significant happened, that a challenge was faced, and that in the end, you found a way to keep moving forward. You see, kid, life isn't just a series of random events. There's a kind of conversation happening between fate and choice, between the hand you're dealt and the moves you make along the way. Now, let's talk about something that might seem a bit puzzling at first: free will versus destiny. It's a topic that many philosophers have chewed on over the centuries without ever reaching a neat conclusion. Some say everything is already written in the stars, like a cosmic script. Others argue that we're each the author of our own stories, writing chapter by chapter with every choice we make. I like to think of it as a little bit of both. Every time life leaves a scar, it's not just a mark of something that happened, it's a sign that you had a choice in the matter, that you persevered through a twist of fate and emerged on the other side, changed and maybe even stronger than before. Consider the idea behind existentialism, for example. The existentialists tell us that life doesn't hand out all the meaning on a silver platter. Instead, it's up to you to give it meaning. When you find yourself facing that quiet pain of a hidden scar, think of it as an opportunity, a chance to define what that pain has taught you. It's about embracing the freedom to interpret your own life, even when the answers aren't obvious. I remember sitting quietly by a window one rainy afternoon, listening to the soft drumming of the rain on the roof, and wondering why I had to face so many hard times. In that gentle moment, I realized that those very moments gave me a glimpse of my true self, a self forged by the fire of life's uncertainties. And then there's the gentle wisdom of phenomenology. Now, that might sound like a big word, kid, but at its heart, it's pretty simple. It's all about experiencing life as it truly is. Every hidden scar isn't just a record of pain. It's an experience that shapes how you see the world. Think of it like the difference between reading about a journey and really taken that journey yourself. There's a depth of understanding that comes from feeling, from living it all. And even when things get rough, you collect these subtle marks along the way that eventually shape who you become. And trust me, the person you become with all those quiet scars is someone who understands life in a way that not everyone does. Let's not forget the warmth of human connection that often nurtures these scars into something more tender and wise. Sometimes, my dear, sharing your story with a listening ear or a kind smile can be like finding a soft place to rest your weary heart. Conversations, even the quiet ones, have a way of making your hidden scars seem a little less alone. The bond you share with someone over a story of hardship, a time when both of you felt like the world was a bit too heavy, creates a bridge, a little connection that reminds you that you're never really walking this path by yourself. I also want to mention something about the idea of amor fati, loving your fate. This isn't about liking every twist and turn your life takes, but about embracing it as a whole. It's understanding that every scar, every moment of pain is part of the beautiful, messy design of your life. Think about it. A tree grows strong because its branches have weathered many storms. Each scar on the tree doesn't weaken it, but reminds it of its journey, its persistence, and its growth. And you, my dear, are no different. Your hidden scars are proof of a life fully lived. They're the evidence of moments that pushed you to grow, to be kinder, to be braver. Let's dig a little deeper into how these ideas play out in everyday life. Imagine those days when the weight of the world seems especially heavy. Days when you wonder why things have turned out the way they have. It might help to know that there is comfort in the idea that every bump in the road is a lesson dressed in a disguise. The Stoics believed that what happens to you isn't as important as how you respond to it. So, if you're faced with a hurt that leaves a mark deep inside, it's okay to pause and feel it. Let it remind you that you are here, that you are strong, and that over time, every scar builds a little more of the quiet fortitude that makes you, well, you. There's also a delicate balance between accepting the past and looking forward to tomorrow. It's like balancing on a small boat during a gentle stream. You must acknowledge the rocks beneath you, the scars of yesterday, but also keep your eyes on the horizon, where new light is always dawning. Sometimes I'd sit by a babbling brook, feeling the cool water running over my hands, and I'd think about how every ripple, every swirl was like a chapter in my life. Even the rough patches in the water added to its beauty, just as every hidden scar enriches the story of who I am. A part of me has always been fascinated with the idea that our scars can even be a source of creativity, a spark for the soul. Many a poet, a painter, or a musician has channeled their hidden hurts into something that transcends words. They transform pain into beauty and hardship into art. When you're carrying these hidden marks, remember that they can be the fertile soil for new ideas, for dreams that blossom even in the toughest times. Sometimes, the very act of acknowledging a scar can be the start of a new creation, a new way of looking at the world that might just help heal not only you but those around you too. And yet, my dear, there's an inherent mystery to it all, a mystery that philosophers like Heraclitus spoke of when he said, "The only constant in life is change." Every scar tells a story of change. It's a sign that you were once hurt, that you faced the impermanence of life head on, and that through that transient moment of pain, something lasting was born. It reminds us that nothing remains exactly as it is, no matter how much we wish for some moments to last forever. The changing seasons, the ebb and flow of the tides, and the rise and fall of the sun all echo this truth, that life is ever evolving, and every scar in its own time becomes a part of that grand transformation. Now, my dear, while we talk about these ideas, I want you to remember that these thoughts aren't just lofty words meant for scholars or thinkers. They're reflections of everyday life, simple truths that we can all hold on to when the going gets tough. You might not use big fancy words when you're sharing your feelings with a friend, but the essence is the same. Every trial, every hidden scar is a stepping stone. It's a little push, a whisper, or a soft nudge that tells you that you're capable of weathering even the roughest storms. In this gentle dance between fate, choice, and the marks we carry, there's also a note of compassion for both ourselves and others. It's easy to be harsh on ourselves when we see the scars left behind by difficult times. But take a moment, kid, to be kind to yourself. Those scars are not failures or mistakes. They're badges of honor. They show that you've endured, that you've learned, and that you've grown in ways that aren't always visible on the surface. And when you see someone else bearing their own hidden marks, offer them a bit of that kindness, that understanding, because we all have our stories etched into our hearts. At the end of the day, my dear, as I sit here and reflect on the winding journey of life, I see that these hidden scars are like the soft lines on an old friend's face, a map of moments that have defined who they are. They are the quiet whispers of our past that guide us, teaching us the value of resilience, the beauty of change, and the power of a gentle heart. Every scar, no matter how hidden, is a testament to the strength it takes to keep moving forward, a small chapter in the epic story of your life. So, as you carry on through your days, remember, the struggles you face and the scars you bear are but a part of your journey, a journey filled with meaning, connection, and quiet wisdom. And if ever you feel overwhelmed, just take a deep breath and let these thoughts remind you of all the quiet strength that lies within you. For in every hidden mark is hidden potential, the potential to grow, to love, and to see the world in a richer, deeper way. My dear, as the night deepens and the gentle hum of the world outside grows quieter, I find myself musing over the simple truths that life has etched into my very being. There's a certain comfort in knowing that every struggle and every hidden scar is a reminder of both our mortality and our capability to rise again. It's funny, isn't it, kid? How sometimes the very things we'd rather forget are the ones that teach us the most about ourselves. I've learned that the weight of a scar isn't measured by how it hurt in the moment, but by how it molds our spirit over time. I like to think about the natural cycles we witness every day, a rose blooming in the spring only to fade and wither as summer takes hold, only to leave behind seeds that herald new beginnings in autumn. That cycle, my dear, is much like our own lives. The beauty of the rose, even in its impermanence, lies not in its eternal bloom, but in the fact that it goes through loss, decay, and ultimately renewal. When I see a faded petal on the ground, I remember that every scar in my heart is like that petal, a silent witness to a moment of fragility that paved the way for later strength. There's also a thought that lingers in the minds of those who have spent time with ancient wisdom, the idea that our sorrows and scars are interwoven with our joy. The Upanishads, those old scriptures of India, speak about the unity of all experiences. They tell us that in every pain there is a lesson waiting to be discovered, and in every joy, a glimpse of the divine. It's a bit like tasting something bittersweet. You savor both the tang and the aftertaste, knowing that one cannot exist without the other. This balanced view, my dear, can help remind you that your own struggles are not isolated incidents. They're part of a vast, interconnected tapestry of life. I often think about how simple moments can hold profound meaning. There was a time when I sat quietly on a creaking porch watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple. As the light faded, I felt a kinship with the shadows that began to creep across the yard. Those shadows, much like our scars, are subtle, sometimes hard to notice, but always present. A reminder that even in our darkest moments, there is a quiet presence that supports us. In that fading light, I realized that acknowledging the darkness within us isn't something to be feared. It's what allows the light to shine all the brighter. And then there's the curious dance between memory and reality. Memory, you see, is both a blessing and a burden. It's the keeper of all our hidden scars and gentle victories. There were times when I catch myself lost in thought, my mind drifting back to moments filled with laughter and times shadowed by pain. In those recollections, I found that the past is not something to be erased, but a story to be cherished. A story of who you were and who you've become. Even if some chapters are tinged with sorrow, they add depth to the tale of your life. As the existentialist Sartre once hinted, we are condemned to be free, and with that freedom comes the responsibility of crafting a narrative that is entirely our own. It's curious, kid, how philosophy can seem so distant, yet so close at the same time. When I speak of the Stoics or the Taoists, I'm not reciting a lecture, but rather sharing the gentle wisdom of old friends who, like you and me, felt the sharp sting of life's challenges. The Stoics believed in facing adversity with calm resolve, teaching us that our reactions are ours to command. They'd say that our internal fortress is built brick by brick through each moment of trial. And over time, those bricks, each scar and each lesson, form a resilient shelter that no storm can truly breach. In the same breath, the Taoists remind me to flow with life rather than battle against it. Life has a way of carrying us forward, whether we're ready or not, much like a river that cuts through rock with persistent grace. When you're caught in the current of hardship, remember that there's strength in moving with the flow, in accepting that the turbulence is part of a larger, ever-changing pattern. It's a bit like dancing with the wind. You can either fight its gusts or let it carry you to unexpected places. And sometimes that unexpected destination holds wonders you could never have imagined. I find that these reflections bring me back to the simple acts of everyday living. Take, for example, the sound of rain tapping softly on the roof. Each drop, unique in its journey from sky to earth, carries with it a whisper of nature's enduring truth. Even the heaviest rain eventually gives way to clearer skies. Much like the hardships that leave us with our hidden scars, the rain does not linger forever. It washes away the dust, cleanses the spirit, and leaves behind a polished world ready for new growth. There's a phrase I like to recall: what doesn't break you makes you stronger. It might sound trite, but it holds a deep truth. Every time life brings you to your knees, every moment that leaves a scar is also a moment that reinforces your ability to stand up again. It's not about denying the pain or pretending it never happened. It's about embracing it as a piece of the grand puzzle that is you. Your scars are a testament to your courage, a sign that you have faced down your demons and walked away with your head held high. They are the quiet echoes of battles fought in the silence of your heart. Let me also share a notion from modern thought, a kind of crossroad between science and philosophy. Neuroplasticity teaches us that our brains, and indeed our hearts, have the ability to change, to adapt, to learn from the wounds of the past. It's a reminder that no scar is permanent, not because it disappears, but because it transforms into something else, a memory, a lesson, or a newfound wisdom. Much like the way a scar on the skin fades over time, so too can the sting of old wounds soften as we learn to integrate them into the story of our lives. This understanding brings a certain peace, a gentle knowing that healing is a process, not an event. And speaking of healing, there's a practical beauty in the simplicity of human kindness. Sometimes all it takes is a kind word or a listening ear to help mend a hidden scar. Think of the many times you've seen or experienced a simple act of compassion, a smile, a pat on the back, a moment of shared silence. These small gestures carry the power to lift burdens and remind us that we're not alone. Every human being you meet is also carrying their own tale of hidden scars and quiet triumphs. In that shared understanding, there is connection, there is solace, a reminder that we are all bound together by our common journey. Let's go a bit further, kid, into the idea of rewriting our narrative. The existential philosopher Camus once said that we must imagine Sisyphus happy. It's a strange thought at first, the notion that even endless struggle can be met with a sort of defiant joy. But when you think about it, isn't there something liberating about taking control of your story? Every hidden scar, every moment of pain becomes a chapter that you can reread and reinterpret with the wisdom of hindsight. Rather than being a mark of what you lost, it turns into a badge of what you've overcome, a spark that lights the way forward on days when the journey feels too hard to bear. I suppose what all these ideas have in common is a deep, abiding respect for life's complexity. The philosophical concepts we talk about, Stoicism, Taoism, existentialism, phenomenology, they all point to the same truth, that there is meaning in our struggles, beauty in our scars, and hope in every new day. They encourage us to see life not as a series of unfortunate events, but as a mosaic of experiences that, when looked at from afar, reveal a stunning picture of resilience and grace. So, my dear, as you continue on your journey, remember to be gentle with yourself. Cherish your hidden scars as a diary written on your soul. Let them remind you that every bump on the road, every hardship endured, is part of a much larger story, a story of growth, of learning, and of living fully despite the odds. And when you feel lost or overwhelmed by the shadows of yesterday, recall that even the darkest nights are followed by the soft embrace of dawn. Take comfort in the idea that every challenge is an invitation to become a little more than you were before, a little wiser, a little kinder, a little more attuned to the subtle music of life. For in the grand symphony of existence, even the quietest notes play an essential role. Your scars may not sing loudly, but they contribute to the melody in a way that only you can create. And that melody, filled with both sorrow and joy, is what makes you truly extraordinary. As you drift off, my dear, under the gentle gaze of a moonlit sky, let these reflections settle like dew on the leaves of your heart. Remember that the journey is long, and every scar along the way is a stepping stone toward a richer, deeper understanding of life. In embracing them, you not only honor your past, but you also open the door to a future filled with promise, a future where every soft, hidden scar glows with the quiet light of wisdom, resilience, and unconditional love. You're doing just fine, my dear, even on days when it doesn't feel like it. Every breath you take, every quiet step forward is enough. You've come so far, and that matters more than you know. Scars don't mean you're broken. They mean you've healed. Rest when you need, smile when you can, and never forget, just by being here, you're already stronger than you think.